Today's pro tip is on what to do when competing in the heat. First of all, most clubs, most competitions have a hot weather policy. Get familiar with that, especially over the summer months. You'll also be able to plan your training. So if the competition is going ahead, but it's going to be quite warm, then you might do a little bit less training in the couple of days beforehand so that your horse doesn't get too hot and dehydrated in those days leading up, affecting the horse's performance on the weekend. The other thing to take into consideration is the humidity. A hot, dry day is a lot easier on everyone than a hot and humid day, because of course humidity decreases the effectiveness of sweating. Okay, so the main point is electrolytes. Electrolytes, electrolytes, electrolytes. I don't think you can go through summer without them, mainly because you want to make sure your horse is hydrated. You want your horse drinking, and without electrolytes you can't guarantee that. You've got two different types of electrolytes. You've got powder form and liquid form. So the powder form is more for, in your feed, at home, regularly, whereas the liquid form is you would syringe it into the horse's mouth during moments of high need. So, if your horse has travelled and sweated, if your horse has been ridden and sweated, if your horse is competing, or if it's just a really, really hot day, that's when you can give it a syringe of electrolyte and know that a short time later your horse is going to be drinking quite a bit. So the powder form is not only for feeding regularly at home in the horse's feed, but you want to make sure that the horse gets that the night before you're traveling, so that you can make sure the horse has had plenty to drink in the lead up to getting on the float, and requiring a whole bunch of hydration so that it can sweat. The other form is liquid. So liquid, you're going to put it in a syringe and then syringe it over the horse's tongue, and so you would be doing that after travel. Once you've arrived at your destination, you would also give the syringe after you've competed. As part of your untacking routine, you'd hose the horse off, put your tack away, and you would give that syringe as part of that routine. But the best benefits of a syringe is usually 10-15 minutes after the riding part has finished, and that then helps the horse recover and drink more water to get it through the rest of the day. So there's lots of different brands of electrolytes. I like using either Recharge or Recuperate by High Gain. Other things to think about is keeping the horse cool. So of course, hosing off once you've finished riding or finished competing, and in dressage we don't expect the horse to be heaving, but we sometimes can expect quite a bit of sweat. So make sure you've hosed long enough to really get the sweat off, and that then starts cooling down the muscle, and that's what you want to look for. If you're eventing or show jumping, you really want to get those muscles cool. My partner plays polo, so same thing. The horses often come off the field, heaving, there's sweat coming out everywhere. You can tell that the horse's temperature has increased. So part of the hosing off process is cooling down some of those muscles, and that's what you want to make sure is happening, so that the horse's core temperature starts coming back down. So the last thing to think about in terms of helping your horse on a hot day is yourself. If you're getting dehydrated during the day, if you're starting to get headaches and your muscles aren't really working the best they can, then you're not going to be helping the horse either. So for yourself, if you're competing on a day that's going to be hot, the day before you should be starting to hydrate. You should have, if it's in the 20s, you should be having 2 litres of water. If it's in the 30s, you should be having 3 litres of water the day before, and then the same on the actual competition day. And, treat yourself like an athlete in this way. And don't forget, lots of us like to have a celebratory wine after we've ridden our tests. So hydrate before celebratory drinks. And in that way, if you take this on board, you should have a horse that's ready to go back to work the next week, and you should be ready to tackle the next week as well. So if you've liked this one, don't forget a thumbs up for this video, share it, put your comments below, and let me know what pro tip you'd like to hear next time.